Hi everyone. Thanks for coming out again. I'm gonna, before I start the main thing, I'm gonna speak slightly about what the last speaker spoke about, which is the feelings and emotions, and it's your feelings and emotions that creates your reality. So our friends, their main tactic is to get you living in fear, so that you're unable to express yourself. And by doing that, you, as it were, bear false witness in yourself. So that's the whole trick. So the buildings are designed to create fear in your psyche. The symbols are designed to create the same fear. And the way they treat you there as well, they treat you as a thing. You're irrelevant. Anything you say, they just ignore you. They imagine that they're smarter than you are. They're not. I've dealt with them personally, and I can tell you 90% of these people are idiots. That's for sure. I can call them out to their face. They call themselves district judges or whatever they are. I've dealt with them personally. I can tell you 2 of them at least are idiots completely. All right? So these are gatekeepers. They're not judges. They're no one. Right? A judge is somebody who has authority, as simple as that, which is conferred upon them to do certain acts. Anyone who doesn't have that authority is not a judge. So it's not a matter of saying it, that I'm a judge, you have to prove it. So in this world that we live in, it's all about claims and complaints. They make claims, whatever claim they make is up to them to prove it. So if you claim to be a judge, you best be able to prove it. If you cannot prove it, keep it moving. I don't want your nonsense, piss off, to whatever language you want to use. But these people are not judges, okay? These are priests. And we're going to break it down as we go along. Right, so the feelings, your main task in this plane that we live in is spiritual development. There's nothing else, right? You're here on a journey to discover what it feels like to live as a human being. And once you finish that, you're going to believe as something else, or the spirit, or whatever you choose to be after that. You're not here to be a slave to anyone, or you're not here to satisfy my needs. You're not here to pay me any money. You're not here to do anything with me. You're here on your own spiritual journey, everyone. So everyone is a vessel in the sea. So the sea is what we live in, and everyone is a vessel. And you're a vessel on your own journey, okay? So you're not accountable to anyone unless you do harm or injure them, okay? And you cannot be compelled to be part of any organization or any group of people, and that's what it is. So it's realizing who you are and that your spiritual development is far much more important than material wealth or collecting material wealth. So it's all about your spiritual development and your physical health. So it doesn't matter how much money you have. If you're ill and you're in bed, it makes no difference. You're not going to enjoy it. Or if you work so hard that you make yourself sick, you won't be able to work anymore to keep going. So that's the point. So health is critical. So when it comes to emotions, they are 7. I'm carrying on from the last thing, is just something I latched on, because I'm not a metaphysicist. Before we do this legal stuff, it's nonsense to us. This is a side thing. We are into spiritual development, and we artists. So we try to create things. So we'll make music, we'll write plays, we'll make films, and we'll create artwork as well. We want to create images that when you see them, it evokes a certain emotion in you, and that's all we're doing. So the kind of art we create, it evokes emotions of joy, if you will. So that's the whole point. All right. So it's about creating. Creativity is godly, and destruction or consumption is devilish, evil, if you will. Evil is not what we've been led to believe, some sort of spooky devil floating around. Evil is just the opposite. It's the consumption. You see? So God creates and the devil consumes and the devil destroys. You see? So if you're destroying all the time, then you are being a devil. If you're creating, maybe you're being a God. You see? If you're creating children, you're being a God. If you're destroying children, you're being a devil. That kind of comparison. But anyway, the level of consciousness starts from the chakras. So 7 chakras, the main one, there's more, but the 7 main chakras being red, which is down here, then it goes to orange, yellow, green, then it goes to blue, purple, and white. So the whole point of your exercise being here is to be an alchemist, to transform yourself from lead to gold. That's all. So from the heaviest to the lightest. And then when you talk about freedom, is you can only be free if you're not attached to anything. That's it. That's what freedom means. So you cannot not attached to anything on this plane. And that is it. Either physical or mental. That is it. Then you're free. As long as you're attached to something, you're attached to it. If you're attached to your house, you cannot move tomorrow. Say, let's go to 3 weeks, let's go home to France. You cannot do it because you're attached to your house and your job and whatever else you're attached to. But some of us who flow freely, say right now, let's go anywhere and we'll go because we live for the moment, right now. If we can create something to do for us right now, we'll do it. Because there is no future, metaphysically, there is no past neither. It's always now, now, now. The future is an illusion. Time is an illusion as well. And we'll get into that in our other talks that we talk about, not this political stuff, the metaphysical stuff. Then we talk about the illusion of time. That time is not linear, you see, three-dimensional, because we live in a three-dimensional plane. So if you're looking at life as a linear thing, that's one dimension. That's length. You need depth as well. How deep are you? How far can you influence? So that's 3 dimensions. So you gotta go this way, and this way. You see. So how deep are you? Are you shallow or are you deep? And how deep can you go? Okay. And the other one is how far can you extend your influence? How far can you shine? You see. Because everyone wants to be a star. But how far can you shine? How far does your influence reach? You know, some people who make music, for instance, their influence reaches very far. They can make one track that everyone in the world knows it, or most people, and that's how far they can influence it. So that's one way of the 3 dimensions. Oops, sorry, I'm deviating. But that's 3 dimensions. So the point is chakras. So let go, right? Hang on to nothing. So be free. And freedom is expressed when you're free. You can express yourself easier as well. So you're being free 3 levels as well, physically, mentally, and spiritually. And that is true freedom. Okay. So the 7 chakras. Number 7. There's numbers. Okay. So numbers are real. Okay. So it's not just the alphabet, which are letters. Numbers also can be used in a certain way. Same as an alphabet. If I say that A is an element, so the alphabet are the elements. You can take the elements and mix them in a certain way to create a new thing. What I mean by that, you can take certain words and mix them in a certain way to create a word that means something. And if you change how you mix it, it means a different thing. You see what I mean? Same with numbers. So the 7 would be, because you've heard about the 7-7, this supposedly anyway, the terrorist attacks and all this stuff, 9/11, all these are numerology. So the 7 also have a symbol. The 7 chakras, same as the 7 colors of the rainbow, are the 7 precious metals, from lead to gold. Same with the 7 principles of Tehuti. That's where the ancients call it. 7 levels of consciousness. It's the same thing. Okay? 7 vital organs. So that if you hold, for instance, if you hold anger within you, you're going to have liver problems. If you hold fear, it's going to be kidney. You see. If it's hate, it's going to be heart. Things like that. You see. Stress, you're going to get the what do you call it, dementia, that kind of stuff. You're always stressed. So there is no future, there is no past. It's always now. If you want to be depressed, think about the past. Okay? If you want to be stressed, think about the future, worry about the future. Then you're going to get stressed. If you want to be depressed, worry about the past. But you cannot change the future, you're going to change the past. It's always about now. What are you going to do now? So it's now time. That's why when you construct our commercial documents, we use now time. Because to and from is an illusion. When you write letters to them, we don't write to anyone. Okay? It's by and for. Right? It's by me for you. There's no to and from. In our vocabulary, when we write commercial documents, we don't use EDs at the end as well. That's past tense. We keep it present tense, very short, straight to the point. Okay? So today I want to do number 7. Today I'm going to do number 3. Because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and going forever. The numbers are real. We're going to do number 3. Because number 3 is what I've discovered kills most stuff. So we're going to do the power of 3. It's going to be, it can be represented as 3. So you can have 3, and then you have a symbol that goes like that. That's 3 as well. If you have 3 points, that's 3. If you have a triangle, that represents 3 as well. So I don't know if you can see this, but that's what it looks like, a triangle. So with a triangle, if we explain the 3s, we can explain the trust, being that the top bit is the grantor, and then trustee and beneficiary. So that's how you explain the trust. Same way you can explain whatever branches of government, for instance, executive, judiciary, and legislature. And today we're going to go through C, which is 3 as well. So ABC. Okay? Are we okay with that? So C is C. We're going to concentrate on C today. C being claims, right? So either commercial charge, CC, right? Civil claim, still CC, and criminal complaint. So we stick around the C's, right? So, first point. What happens is you receive, in a legal, remember there's 2 worlds again. There's a real world and a fake world. Real world for the living people, legal fiction world for corporations, right? So when somebody sends you a claim, which is a letter, it could be addressed as a notice or whatever they want to call it. So as soon as you receive the claim, the first thing you're going to do is to identify which jurisdiction, because we fail to do that all the time. Somebody makes a claim and we try to defend it, but we defend it in the wrong jurisdiction. But nobody's going to give you legal advice, so you never know where the mistake was or what you did that was wrong. So initially, as soon as you receive the claim, you need to understand, that's the word, or know which jurisdiction it is so that you can respond to it appropriately. So it's all about jurisdiction. Okay? So you're going to look at the document and see what it says at the top. If it says a charge, that's a commercial jurisdiction. Okay? So you deal with it in the commercial sense. If it says an indictment, that will be under criminal. Okay? So you deal with it appropriately. So that's the point. Identify the claim. So number 1, which jurisdiction? Is it commerce? Is it civil? Or is it criminal? I mean, I've seen people who have a traffic infraction and they try it under criminal rules. And how is that possible? Because you never asked or you never objected to it. But it's not possible for anyone to try a civil claim under criminal procedure rules. But that's happening all the time. So when you get the paperwork, go through it and see if it's mentioned criminal procedure rule number, whatever it is, if it's acts. Once it's a crime, then it changes jurisdiction. So number 1, identify the jurisdiction before you respond to anything that is sent to you. Right. Now the party bringing the C, which is the claim, complaint, or the charge, they have a legal obligation to disclose, let's say, foundational information that you need in order to remedy the claim. For instance, so if I come to your house and say that you owe me money, you have a right to ask me for my name, for instance. Who are you? And how the liability was created. If you do that, then I have a legal obligation to disclose this information. I need to tell you who I am and how come I owe you money. That's as simple as it is. So every time somebody makes a claim against you, the best thing would be to get them to disclose the information that you need in order to settle their claim. And the first one is, who are they? And then you can carry on from there. So number 1 is to identify who's bringing the claim, okay? And to ask them basic information. If they fail to do it, they're out. So we're going to start from the start. Somebody brings a claim and we start right from the beginning, and you can ask them as simple as this. If it's a commercial charge, is this a civil claim? Is it a criminal complaint? That's a start, and then I can deal with it after that. And if they are unable to answer that question, then the claim stops right there, you see. So I don't know how people get drawn too much into this stuff. But the point is the emotion. You don't want to get emotionally involved in this stuff. I know it because I've been through it, and I've been in cases where I get emotionally involved because I find it easier doing other people's cases than my own. Because my cases I get emotionally involved, and I get pissed off at these people, and I'm, this is not true, you see. But we need to get away from that and approach it the same way they do, you see, with no emotion. It's all about spelling. It's all about words on a piece of paper. You see, they mean nothing until, like the man said, you attach meaning to it depending on your conditioning. So a word could mean nothing. A word, ass, could upset some people. Some people find it funny, but it's nothing. It's just depending on your conditioning. So the point is to take the paperwork, because remember, everything is on the legal fiction world, is to do the paper. That's what is used to create the liability, right? In the real world, you have to commit an act, you see. So you have to do something in order to create the liability. In criminal complaints, you will have gone out and committed a crime, or caused somebody else injury, loss, and harm, for there to be a criminal complaint, you see. Civil claim as well. You must have done something for someone to bring a civil claim against you. You must have reached an agreement of some sort, or you must have entered into an agreement. That's the action, and then the breaching it is the default. And then the criminal complaint as well. There's got to be an injured party for them to make the claim, and it's as simple as that. Okay. So the first thing is identify the jurisdiction, and whoever's bringing the claim, and make sure that they let you know who they are and how the liability was created, and then you can carry on. If that's not shown, you don't know who these people are, and you don't even know how the liability was created, then you don't have any reason to get involved with them, you see. I can't come to your house and say, listen, you owe me some money. I'm not going to tell you who I am, just give me the money. Why? Because I'm wearing a uniform, for instance. Big deal. I need to know who you are, because I can buy the same uniform at the costume shop, okay? So uniform doesn't mean anything. We need to see proper authority, all right? Now, we've been duped by these people to believe that they have some authority. But like I said before, everything they do is based on presumptions. So you have law, and then you have presumptions of law. So law is that's a real man in the real world, living on the land. Then you have presumptions on law, which are illusions for corporations who live on paper. They're not real. They only live on paper. So that's the case. Now, are we all comfortable with what a civil claim is, a criminal complaint is, and a commercial charge is, or does anyone need me to explain it even further? Are we good with that? We all know what a civil claim is. Yeah? I'll just read it briefly. Civil claim is where no injury is willfully intended, but nonetheless inflicted by one party on another. That's what a civil claim is. So the injured party may make a direct claim against the party who caused the injury. So in a civil claim, if you cause me injury, I'm going to make a claim against right to you and say, look, you caused me injury this way, and this is the remedy I require, you see. And if they don't remedy your claim, then you take it to the public courts. They're not public, but the illusory courts, and try and get it remedied that way. Yeah.
So civil.
Yeah.
Is that the same as like, you know, if you're working on a job and you have an injury, it's the same process?
Yeah, that's a civil claim. It's a civil claim. Yeah, that's a civil claim. That would be a personal injury. Yeah. If you're working a job and you hurt yourself, it's a personal injury claim, but it's a civil claim. Yeah.
So you're supposed to be protected by the unions and stuff like that, you know? You go...
Union is... I don't mess with unions, because union is like a political party. That's the trouble with unions.
Work for
government.
Say the council and government, don't they? They're not really...
They're not independent.
It's like a smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, the union is like the ombudsman, you see. So these people, they're going to encourage you to make complaints to this ombudsman and all these people. There's no remedy. Look at this, there's only two ways you can deal with stuff. Make a complaint or make a claim. A claim requires remedy. A complaint requires nothing. I'll send you a letter and say, listen, according to a complaints procedure, it takes a year before I get back to you. So you just chill for a year, I'll write to you next year. That's our complaints procedure. Boom. But remedy, I need remedy now. I've been injured, I want remedy now, or within 33 days. So that's the difference. A complaint doesn't require remedy, a claim requires remedy. So you need to be making claims all the time, and nothing else. Don't write letters to people, you're not having conversations with them. What for? You don't know these people, you see. Make your claims. So when they write to you, the way you draft it is, I claim that your proposed liability statement, for instance, is not valid. That's it. That's a claim. And then you give the reasons why it's not valid. It's not signed. There's no seal on it. There's no name of whoever wrote it. As far as I'm concerned, it's not valid. That's it. Boom. You don't write 20 times to them and go back and forth. That is argument and controversy. The whole point is commercial. Everything is commercial, guys. This civil stuff is an illusion, right? There is no civil anything. Everything is commerce. That's why you charge for everything. Because a charge is a commercial term. You see, if it's real, you get indicted for crimes. You don't get charged. What they've done, they've monetized what they call crime. So now if you have enough money, you can go around and kill people. You should be bailed. If it's 100 million pounds, and I have £1 million or 100 million, and the bill is 1 million, I'm going to pay it and go home because I can afford it. Whereas the poor man will end up in a cell. That's the difference, because everything is monetized. So that's the whole point. Everything is common, so you need to come to the commercial jurisdiction. So all these claims, they're called proposed liability statements, are under commercial law. So you deal with it in the commercial sense.
So one way to, before you even go to court, right, put a stamp on it, so to speak.
Yeah.
Before you even get to court,
Yeah.
right, what is one way to rubber stamp it, to make sure you're in the right jurisdiction before you...
Yeah. So the claimant writes you a letter.
To get them to put their own death warrant on it. So
Right. The claimant writes you a letter and says charge.
Yeah.
So you write to him and say, excuse me, could you please give me a written confirmation of what you believe the charge is before I answer these charges? And if you don't write to me within so many, give it 33 days, for instance. If I don't hear from you within 33 days, it means that you've dropped your charges or your charges are false. That's it. That's the agreement. Boom. So what else are we doing? You see how simple it is? And that's just it. How is he going to take it to court? You're still dealing with him. The point is this, that if you don't remedy his claim, then he's got a right to take it to court. But if you're willing to remedy his claim, then he's got no right to take it to court. And if he does, he's going to explain to the fake judge that, hang on a second, I tried to remedy with this guy. He's trying to charge me, and I've asked him to give me his definition of what the charge is so I can honor it, and he hasn't done it. It's been 33 days. Now to seal it completely, you do it 3 times. It's power of 3. Today we're going to discuss 3. So you write to him 3 times. So you have 3 pieces of evidence that you're going to use to show that you remain in honor if they take it to court. That's all. Yeah.
Right, so you never object, you always agree with the person.
Yes. In commerce, you never ever write to, you have 4 responses. So number 1 is acceptance. So you're going to accept all claims. Accept for value, all claims, right? That's number 1. Number 2, you condition accept based on upon proof of claim. You see, you remain in honor. If you ignore these idiots or you argue with these fools, you go into dishonor. You see, and that's how it works. So when they send you those letters and say we're going to take it to court and you just leave them there, that's what they're going to do. So you need to respond to it. And more importantly, it's 72 hours, guys. Commerce is contract law. So this is critical. Contract law, 72 hours. So you need to return the original within 72 hours. When you say to you within 14 days, that's a trick for you to think you have time to go beyond the 72 hours. Once you do that, your half joy is created already. So what you're going to do in 72 hours, have your stuff ready. When you go home tonight, get your templates ready, your fee schedules and everything, notices, and give these people notices. And this is my terms and conditions for doing business with me, right? If you send me the letter, it's going to cost you this much. If you come to my house, it's going to cost you this much. If you call me, it's going to cost you this much. You see? And then if they do that, you invoice them 3 times. They don't pay. If it's a small amount, you put it in the fake court, the one you do online, the business center, Northampton, right? You can do that online. So you put your claim in as well, and they're going to get a judgment against them. Everyone can do it. It's the same thing. If they can do it, you can do it. You see? So it's not a big deal. So you need to know how to conduct business properly. Business is this. These are my terms and conditions for doing business with me, right? If you accept them, you carry on. If you reject them, it means that you don't want to do business with me, which means you're never going to write to me again. That is it. Okay? So that's the commercial way of dealing with this, our friends. It's 72 hours, guys. Commerce is contract law. So this is critical. Contract law, 72 hours. So you need to return the original within 72 hours. When you say to you within 14 days, that's a trick for you to think you have time to go beyond the 72 hours. Once you do that, your half joy is created already. So what you're going to do is 72 hours. Have your stuff ready. When you go home tonight, get your templates ready, your fee schedules and everything, notices, and give these people notices. Now this is my terms and conditions for doing business with me, right? If you send me the letter, it's going to cost you this much. If you come to my house, it's going to cost you this much. If you call me, it's going to cost you this much. You see? And then if they do that, you invoice them 3 times. They don't pay. If it's a small amount, you put it in the fake court, the one you do online, the business center, Northampton, right? You can do that online. So you put your claim in as well, and they're going to get a judgment against them. Everyone can do it. It's the same thing. If they can do it, you can do it. You see? So it's not a big deal. So you need to know how to conduct business properly. Business is this. These are my terms and conditions for doing business with me, right? If you accept them, you carry on. If you reject them, it means that you don't want to do business with me, which means you're never going to write to me again. That is it. Okay? So that's the commercial way of dealing with this, our friends. Okay. Right, so that's civil. Then criminal complaints that is when there's an injured party. So you've gone out of your way and you've caused loss, damage, or injury to someone. Then they write a complaint and they take it to the magician's court, and then the magicians take it to the Crown Court, and then you get tried by a jury, all right, in a court of record. So that is it. Anything outside a court of record, trial by jury, is not a real trial, all right? All these fake administrative hearings, they're not trials. There's a bunch of people called the Law Society, all right? Now this Law Society have created something called the Rules of the Law Society, right? These Rules of the Law Society, they've brainwashed us all to believe that this is law. It's not law. It's called the rules of law, right? A rule of law is not law. Okay? That is what it is. That's why there's law and there's rule of law. That's why there's law and color of law. That's why there's law and presumption of law. These guys operate on the presumptions of law. Okay? Now we have...
So when you go to magistrates court, it's all commercial because they're trying to enforce money or impose fines on you, but they're not acting under the oath.
No, they cannot act under oath in a magician's court. Why? A magician's court is administrative court. These people who claim to be judges, they take a judicial oath. All right? It's two different jurisdictions. When you're sitting down in an administrative capacity, you cannot use your judicial oath at that moment because your judicial oath is only for judicial processes. You understand? So when you're administering as a clerk, you don't use the oath. That's why they never produce the oath at that particular time, because they're administrating, they're not doing judicial work. That's the only difference.
You're not breaching the peace, and it's to do with like motor defences.
Yes. As long as there is no injured party, it's administrative. All right? Because there is no crime if there's no injured party. Everything's administration. Everything that the de facto government does is administration. They tell you in the names, right? Administration. We are in administration. When a company goes into administration, does anybody know what that means? Thank you. The country is bankrupt, guys, since 1925. Right?
That's where the de facto comes from, literally from administration.
Yeah, de facto comes in administration. What do they say when they come into government? The government came into what? Into administration. That's what it is. So the government is administrating Cyprus trusts. There's no justice. The government is a de facto government to do administration. That's why they call themselves administrators. That's why you have ministers, you see. Prime Minister is an administrator. All they're doing is running the Cyprus Trust. They don't care about justice. All they do is to allow commerce.
We're the beneficiary of the bankruptcy.
Yes. You're the beneficiary, but you beneficiaries are not collecting your benefits. That's the trouble. You see. And now you've been made to be trustees of your own trust account. So you need to regain your status. All right? So, I'm going to go to the proceedings in the legal fiction world. And last time we spoke about three. Talk about three. I understand everything is in threes. These acts, or the proceedings in a magician's court, for instance, is always a three-act play. It's a Greek tragedy. Okay? These guys are playing with you. It's all about acting. So you need to know how to act. So when they call you at these venues, don't go there be yourself. Go in the evening, practice what role you're going to play before you go. So when you go there, you know your script. I'm going to say these three words only, I won't say anything else. And that is it. But you cannot go in there and start arguing and trying to reason with these people. Because they don't reason. They operate in something square, a cube. They're square heads, if that makes any sense. The people are round heads and then square heads. Right? So round heads, they create, these people are square heads, okay? They operate within a certain template. You cannot reason with them. You just need to give them move the court, you see. Not even action. In commerce we don't use action. In civil stuff, you're going to see it says action. Action is a military term, you see. Everything they're doing on us is military, you see. So that's why you have actions and defense, secretary generals and attacks and all this other nonsense. It's all military, you see. So we don't do action unless we do a civil claim. We do moves. So we move the court to find in our favor. That's what you're going to do.
Also, they use maritime law, isn't it? It's this law of the
Yes,
sea.
it's a law of the seas. The law of the seas, you have two laws: law of the land, which is for the real people, the men and women of England and Wales, and you have the law of the seas, which are created by the Law Society through the Acts of Parliament, and that's under maritime and admiralty jurisdiction. That is why you have to understand jurisdiction before you answer the first question. That's why before you answer the question, you need to know which jurisdiction. That's why I need to know whether it's a civil claim, it's a criminal or commercial charge before I say any other word. You see? But everything they do is under the law of the seas. So it's the law of the merchants, and that's commercial law. You understand? So that is why we use commercial law, and that's why we kill them, because we use the same that they're using. So we're not going to be due to believe in this civil law or justice, no. We're going to conduct ourselves the way you're conducting yourself according to the rules of commerce. Which is, I'm going to give you 3 bills or 3 notices. If you don't respond, that's agreement. I'm going to tie them together in a bundle. I'm going to write my claim and take it to court and say, listen, there's agreement between the parties. Now I need a piece of paper from your fake courtroom to say that that agreement stands. That's all. Yeah. That's how you handle that kind of business. So it's 3 acts. Act number 1, this is where we miss all the time. So I have to bring you back to this. 3 acts. Act number 1, establishing status of the parties in the controversy. And this is where we fall all the time. Because we forget about this and we just jump straight into adjudication. We start arguing with these people. I did this happened, and the other one happened. But you haven't established your status. Okay, so act number 1 is establishing status. Act number 2 is adjudication, or what they call it, taking of cognizance of the matter before the court. And number 3 is the judgment. Okay? Of the determination. So that's the 3 acts. So what I'm saying to you is, establish your status from the beginning, because if you don't, the presumers are going to presume you're something else. And what they presume you are is a thing. And that's the word. All right? In the legal fiction world, you are a thing. Right? Because a corporation can only deal with another corporation. And if you're standing there, other corporation, then you're a thing. All right? So establish your status. Are you a living man or are you a corporation? All right? You can do that. You can be the living man, and you can represent the name, but don't be it. So you go to court and they call that name and say, hang on a second, I'm the representative of that name. What do you want? What do you want from? And then you can stand on his behalf. It's called sui juris. You see. So, sui juris if you're going to represent your legal fiction. But what you don't want to do is a legal person or a surrogate person. That's deadly. It's sui alienus. That's deadly. It's like an alien completely. Right. Before I forget, I'm going to tell you this. Foreign vessel in dry dock. Please remember that. Those courts are foreign vessels in dry dock. Right? It's a foreign country. So when you go into the building, as soon as you go in, you're in a foreign country. All right?
That's why they use maritime law.
It's maritime law, right? It's a foreign vessel, ship in dry dock, right? You, as a seaman, if you go into that ship without paperwork, a seaman's pass is called, the captain is going to write to grab your stowaway and take it to gallows. So that's all it is. So you go to the venue without the proper paperwork. That's why you're required to file your paperwork 2 weeks before you go to that venue to identify who you are, your status as a living man, and that you're there to challenge the jurisdiction or to stop any unlawful hearing that has to do with that account. Okay? So your status would be you're the general executive of that account. Because it's your name, right? You're not the trustee for it. The public trustee is the trustee. But the public trustee is going to assume a role called executor on tort, which means he's going to pretend that he's the general executor of that name, right? That he's you, more or less. So the judge, the priest is not a judge, an idiot. The priest is pretending to be you, and he's running your estate for you, all right?
So you're the higher body in that court?
Of course you're the higher body.
They're working on your behalf?
You're the higher body, why? Because, number one, without you, that case would not be there. They're dealing with the account in your name. Second of all, you're walking in there accepting full liability for all your actions and what you say. These idiots, they only accept limited liability because they work for limited liability companies. So if you accept only limited liability, how do you expect me to accept full liability? You see?
They try and flip jurisdiction on you by making you the trustee. It's like you've got to oblige and like obey orders and put all the emphasis on you, is that right? That's what-
Yeah, that's what it's a game, it's an act, you need to know what your role is. But don't go there waiting to be told what to do. You need to know what your role is, so when you go there, as you're the man, you're going to tell the servants what to do.
Well, they're trying to remove the status by challenging you, and you are this, and what's your date of birth, and asking you all the story questions.
Well, what does date of birth have to do with anything? Listen, if you kill someone, and they arrest you, and they ask you, what's your name? And you say, my name is Roger Rabbit. And they say, when were you born? I was born yesterday. They're going to arrest you, so you're going to go to jail. But with these idiots, when you say that, they cannot move. Because if you haven't committed a crime, it doesn't matter, they can touch you. They want you to say the wrong word, they join them. That's all.
Yep.
You see it?
But they're committing fraud.
Of course there will be fraud.
Yeah,
The existence is fraud.
They're switching from making you the trustee.
No. Their existence is fraud. That's it. Okay? So we don't go any further than that. The fact that they exist is a fraud. All right? And that's enough. The administration pretending to be something else.
And not under the rope.
There is no oath anymore, guys. I need to tell you this. Forget about this oaths, statutes, all this nonsense. This stuff doesn't exist. Everything is commerce. I'm going to make a claim against you. If you don't respond in a commercial way, I'm going to take you to the fake court. I'm going to get a judgment. That is it. Look at the wording. It's all commercial words. Services, charges. This is all commerce, you see. So that's the point. It's in the letter. So if I write here and I say, I want a pigeon, that's what I want. You don't bring me a dog and say, here you go. It's a pigeon, so charge. Judge the charge. 4 elements. If one is missing, it's a false charge. Piss off. That's it. I'm not debating with you, I don't want to argue with you. You know, so you be competent, you know what you know, you stand your ground. You see, you accept full liability for what you say right. These guys don't accept full liability, so they can't tell you anything. When you go to court, those people are your agents, right? Because without you, they don't have that case, you see. Every single one of them gets paid for you being there, you see. If you don't show up, they don't get paid. That's why they have to invite you all the time to their venues, because unlike most of us who produce things, we actually work. These guys produce nothing. They own a building, all they have is a computer that churns out paperwork, you see. And then you go in there, and they get paid. Whether you win or lose your case, they get paid anyway. That's all they do. Bring people into this building so that they get paid from your Cyprus Trust account. That's all that's going on here. That's it. Nothing else.
If everybody went in as a beneficiary, all these courts would close down.
Of course, and they need to close down so that we can have real courts that deal with real issues. Not administrative courts, but actually judicial courts. That's the point. We want to shut it down. We want to remove all these corrupt, incompetent priests and put judges in these venues so that when we have arguments between ourselves, we can go and have somebody who's reasonable, who's going to be fair with us, who can determine these things. That's all. So when I have argument with him, we can go to court and we know this guy's going to be fair. But you don't want to deal with these priests who are administrating your Cyprus account and pretending that they're doing something else, you see. All right? So the Act 3 acts. Act number 1. Do not go to Act number 2 until the status of the parties in the controversy is established. And that's the word established. So you can say that at the beginning. I cannot proceed because the status of the claimant is not established, for instance. Okay? Well, who's bringing the claim? If let's say one of these fake persecutors comes up and brings a claim, first of all, you're going to ask him one question. By what right do you bring the claim? He's got no right. Is he the injured party? No. Does he have a power of attorney from the injured party giving him the right to bring that claim? No. So how can he bring the claim? So instead of getting involved in what he's claiming, you see, ask him by what authority he's bringing the claim to start with. So that's it's number 1, Act 1. You're establishing status. Before I answer your questions, I need to know who you are. That's it. So number 1 is critical. Establish status. Don't be pushed around. Okay? These guys are weak. What they use is tricks, right, and force. But they have nothing else. Okay? So that is it. Stand your ground. You know who you are. Number 1, I'm going to pay you the money as soon as you tell me who you are. If you don't tell me who you are, I don't have all day. I have 7 days. After 7 days, I have other things to do. So after 7 days, if I don't know who you are, I'm going to assume that you've left me alone and I won't be communicating with you any further regarding this particular matter. That's it. 1 page, 2 lines. All right? So, status, critical. So Act 1, establish status. 2, adjudication, taking cognizance. 3, determination. And that's the Greek tragedy. Done. All right? So I'm going to go through some points that I have here, and maybe they'll explain things clearer. Now, number 1 is, a court can only gain jurisdiction by effective service of process. That is it. So in the front mail, it's not effective service of process, right? They have to hand it to you, or they have to use a recognized process server, which is the people in the county court. You can go there, find a man in a grey suit, give him £40 and send him to go and serve some paperwork. You can do it that way, or you can use the post office. Those 3 ways. They do it any other way. You don't accept service, either send an email. Don't accept service by email. You can if you wish, but you don't have to. I'd recommend not for you not to do it. Don't accept service by any other means. Okay? So, the only way a court can gain jurisdiction over the living man is by effective service of process, which means I have to go to the court, make a claim against you, and the court has to issue the claim and send it to you. That's the only way. And then you have to accept it. That's it.
Right, if somebody hand delivers you a note,
Yeah.
notice at the door,
Yeah.
you can refuse it, though, you don't have
Of course
to
you can.
accept it.
You ask him, what is it? You ask him, what is it? I am not accepting service right now.
Like a bail, it can save you notice.
For what?
Accept it.
Ask him, what is it?
Is it signed?
See, everything is offer and acceptance in commerce. This is an offer.
No contract.
This is an offer. You see. It is obeying, ask him, what is it? What is it? Read it out to me. I'm not taking it. Read it out to me.
What if they pushed it through your door, you pick it up and return it to them?
If they push it through your door, I'd probably tear it up and throw it in the
Forced
bin.
on you,
You see, if they push it through your door, tear it up and throw it in the bin.
If it's not
And
made,
I've done it twice where I've put it back in their possession straight away, and for local council tax. One, I put it under his windscreen wiper when he was sat in the vehicle.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
And the second one, I threw it toward him and he came back and collected it. It was still on my property, but he came back and collected it and took it.
Yeah, the point is, they cannot prove effective service of process, whereas you can. Because of how you're doing it. You go to the post office, and you pay money, and you're getting a receipt. And then you can prove that. So that's your proof of service. With the frank mail, they can't prove that. You see. So number 1, they never ever serve the process properly anyway. You see, because everything they do is fraud. So you can catch them on number 1 only.
so you should
So-
return it without opening it, basically.
Yeah.
You return to sender. straight
It depends how, if it's letter addressed to you, you deal with it. Sorry. If it's addressed to a legal official, you decide if you want to deal with it or not.
How can the prove it's been
Okay? That's what I'm saying. There is no proof. What they do is they try their luck. They're going to send a whole bunch of stuff to people. Some of them will respond, some of them
fraud
won't.
documents? Fraud documents.
Everything they do is fraud. So how are you going to defend yourself? That's the question. What I'm saying to you is, you don't have to. You choose how you do business. They're making you an offer. All these letters are offers.
Yes.
Right? How you can accept it or not accept it is up to you.
So that's why, even if, say, you water or whatever, if you just literally put address not recognised, you tend to send it.
Yeah, go on. Why?
You don't
Because
use the bottle with endorse.
you don't have to respond. This thing, it depends on how much time you have in your life. Some of us have more time than others. I can mess with these people all day because I have nothing better to do and I love it as well. I love pissing them off. They piss me off. So I can keep them busy all day. Some people have a job and they don't have time for this stuff. You just need 1 line to finish it. You know. So with this stuff, you need to know your strategies. You need to know you're a living man. Corporations cannot deal with corporations. They're making you offers, right? It's up to you of how you're going to respond to it. And best thing is this, that every document that requires your signature is negotiable, all right?
That sometimes when you send them back, you send it back like council tax, you put it to the occupier,
Well, are you the occupier?
and then it comes back.
Is your name the occupier? Are you known as the occupier? So why are you bothering with it?
Last week, Matt said last month, sorry, occupy, what that actually means.
It's
It's taken
not a
by
war.
force.
Occupier is it's a war term.
Yeah, yeah. So you
Because
don't
that's the
occupy.
military term we were talking about earlier. Occupy is occupation. You see, you're going to occupy somebody else's
Taken by
lands.
military force. It's
Yep.
like, I'm taking this
Yep.
back by military force.
This is military we're dealing with, remember? It's attacks and defense and actions and orders and commands. You see, it's all military, right?
I
sent it back and said, who's the occupier?
You can I've responded to letters as the occupier. You see, I've responded to letters as the occupier. So if they write to the occupier, I'm going to write the letter and at the end say the occupier as well and send it to them. You see, very, very good as well. You can do anything you want to do. You write to the occupier, I'm going to write to you back as the occupier. Yeah. So it's a game there. Don't take it too seriously. It's an act. Everything's an act. Decide what role you're going to play with these fools and enjoy yourself. Don't take it too seriously. Okay? Because they're not to be taken seriously.
I used a pencil.
Sorry?
I used a pencil. I filled all the documents in pencil. Because I was an idiot and I didn't know what to put, so I wrote things in pencil and I didn't sign anything. Spent 4 minutes, well, I didn't go to court, but he went to court, 4 minutes, kicked out. The bundle was very thin, because they don't put anything in pencil in any bundle. So the bundle was non-existent, just a blurry photograph.
Ah, that's a way to do it. Yeah, but there's many ways to skin a cat, as it were. The point is, these guys, because they are committing a fraud, you can keep them from any angle and they have no defense, you see, because everything they do is fraud. So that's where it is. Don't take them too seriously. When you see them coming, start laughing at them anyway, and then relax. But don't let them do the fear thing on you, okay? Don't let them do the fear thing on you, because that's the trick. Once I infect your psyche with fear, now you won't be able to speak properly, you won't be able to act properly. So that's the point. Do not allow anyone to put fear in you by a piece of paper. It's just a letter. It's just a letter.
What they're actually doing is trying to rob your trust.
Yeah. So everyone who's got a birth certificate has got a trust with the Vatican. So the Vatican man have a trust, and they're going to milk it until the day you die. That's the thing. Unless you take control of this trust, there's a procedure you can do, and then you take control of the trust, and then you can run it. But others are going to run it for you. Why? Because you're incompetent, and you're a lunatic, and you're a child, and you're a thing, and you don't know what the law is. All right? So, effective service of process.
That's why I don't teach you law in school.
Sorry?
That's why I don't teach you about the law when you're growing up.
Exactly. But if you knew everyone knows what the law is, but what they try to do is to teach you that a rule is a law.
Yeah,
That's the thing. We all know what the law is. Do no harm. When you're doing
I
harm,
heard about like common law. They don't really tell you common law through school.
common law doesn't exist anymore.
They tell you parts of history, what they want to teach you. They don't really go into that.
Yeah, there's nothing in school. School is not there to teach you anything. School is there to prepare you to be a laborer. It's preparing you for the labor market. So they won't teach you survival skills. They'll teach you how to do a good job for a corporation. So they'll teach you how to go and pack things. I don't know what job people do. But that's the whole point of schooling. You're being trained
To be a robot, basically.
exactly, to go and do a certain job. But they don't train you how to survive. They don't train you about spirituality. They don't train you about reality. It's just a whole bunch of nonsense, you see. And nowadays you don't need to go to school anyway, because you can get that information out of school.
On the internet,
Yeah.
you can be educated.
Yeah.
yourself.
So if this was the entire information of the world in a circle, the curriculum is a tiny little circle in the big circle. You might as well be in the big circle where you learn everything instead of going to school to learn curriculum, which is small. What for? I'm learning everything. I don't care what's the curriculum. I'm going to learn everything. You see, it's there. It's for free as well. So next one is civil matters on criminal, and may not be tried in criminal court using criminal statutes as a corporate vehicle. Understand? So when they're using, okay, our friends call the police enforcers, right? They have two roles as well. Same with the judges. Everything is two. They have a role as a constable, and they have a role as an officer, right? Now, when they're operating as a constable, their job is to preserve the peace, right? As a corporate police enforcer, is a tax collector. That's the difference, all right? So now what they're doing is they're using statutes as a corporate vehicle to get money. So they're using criminal statutes in civil proceedings, you see, which is you need to pull them up on that. That's what I'm saying to you. When you get your paperwork, look at it. If it's a traffic thing, it was issued by a civil enforcement officer or something. It's a civil matter, right? If you look at the paperwork, it's going to say criminal procedure rule this and the other, and this criminal act this and the other, criminal justice act. It's not a crime, okay? So you need to pull them up and say, hang on a second, this does not apply. So these are the issues that you're dealing with. You're not dealing with whether you're speeding or whether you're parked or whatever else. What you're dealing with is that this document or this act, or this thing does not apply.
So if it's a motoring offence
Yeah.
and it's a civil enforcement officer and put a warrant through your door for
Yeah.
a warrant of arrest, it's
Right.
not enforceable anyway. Is that correct?
It's not enforceable. That's an offer.
Because anybody could be a civil enforcement officer. I could say I'm arresting you now on more grounds. You just don't stand up. Is that right? Or
Yeah. These guys, those are offers. Every offer they make to you is going to be in paper. So whether they send a front mail, or they come and put some advertising on your car, or come and drop something to your letterbox, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's an offer. So it's commons, it's an offer and acceptance. Are you going to accept the offer? So the point is, you need to accept the offer, but with certain conditions, or accept it for value. That is it. So you can do your parking tickets, you can accept those for value as well. So when you get your parking ticket, you stamp it up properly, you endorse it back and forth, and you send it back to them to discharge it. You see, easy. But you don't want to argue with these people or ignore them. You need to learn how to discharge charges, because we cannot pay the charges because the country is in administration, is in debt anyway. So if the country is in debt, how the hell are you going to pay? So that's the whole point. We're in administration, so we have to discharge charges. We're going to pay them because there is no money, it's fiat. Money is gold and silver. That's real money. Now, gold and silver is what they call money of exchange, right? What we have now is money of account. That's all. It's numbers on a computer. There is no backing on it. Okay. So administrative matters, such as the management of what they used to call it fideicommis trust, with the change to situs trust. Now they call it secret trusts. Okay. So the running or management of these trusts may therefore not be adjudicated using criminal statutes. You see, well, that's what they're doing. They're using criminal statutes administratively, you see, to manage trusts. You see, which is an error in law. So this is stuff you're putting these people on, and you're not getting involved in. I did not do that. I did not do that. You see, just putting them on what they're doing. All right. Another one is this is a good one. But this is statutes for people who do the legal fiction world. And they use statutes in their defenses. So that's a good one. It's called the Crown Prosecutions, Crown Proceedings Act, 1947, I think. That's a good one, because Crown Proceeding Act said it removed the Crown's immunity from giving disclosure, you see, or they call discovery, which means if you ask the Crown for a question, if they proceed against you, and you ask them a question, they cannot refuse, they have to disclose that, you see. That's Crown Proceedings Act of 47. We need to find a specific section, but that they cannot refuse to disclose who they are, for instance. So if they proceed against you, you can ask them under that act, the Disclosure Act, who do you represent? Questions like that. And as long as they cannot identify who they represent, you don't move forward. You see. But that's for legal fiction. All acts are for legal fictions. So if you're going to use this act to defend yourself, understand that you are acting in the legal fiction world. Yeah. So Crown Proceedings Act, that's a good one. And also, same with this act, the Human Rights Act is not being repealed there. There's something called Brexit, I don't know where it is, but apparently England is going to leave EU. When that happens, they're going to go back and debate, and eventually the Human Rights Act is going to be repealed. But it still stands, so you can use Article 6 if you're using the strawman business to defend yourself. Is the right to a fair trial. Article 5, right to liberty. So those two go together. So those are convention rights. Remember that.
Can I ask, right? Basically, I think, right, whether I think whether you wanted it or not, we were coming out anyway, right? Yeah. And that's all down to what they want.
Yeah.
Due to all this stuff, Human Rights Acts, blah blah blah, so everyone shit up again.
Yeah.
So what happens when we come out? You know,
what to this act?
To do with everything. Rewrite. Really.
No. When they come out of this act, you have to understand the structure. No, the structure is this. When they repeal the Human Rights Act, you're going to use the universal one. That's a treaty. Okay? That's stronger than this one.
So,
1948,
yeah. So you're going to use the Geneva one, which is a treaty. It's not an act. and a treaty is stronger than this one. So that's where you're going to go. Okay? So you're going to take the universal Declaration of Human Rights. That's what you're going to use.
So it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because I've heard a lot of
You can't get out trees, they're not allowed.
stuff like leaving me alone. We can all do it, even to deal with your TV license. You can say leave me alone. It's my basic.
Take a license.
You know what I mean? But we can all use and abuse stuff for certain things. But what I'm saying is, what happens when we come out of this stuff? What do you revert to? Because they're going to make their own.
Right. It's what you're going to revert to. You're going to be a man.
We are going to become Americanized with the
No.
We are in the process of that.
No.
We are
You-
policed already, aren't we?
But that's why we're coming out of. That's why we're doing this. The point of all this is for us to regain our...
So you think Brexit is part of that?
I don't pay attention to
I
stuff.
think Brexit is what they wanted anyway. I don't
Look,
think
It doesn't matter, what matters is what you're doing, it doesn't matter what they're doing, it matters who you are when you're interacting with this beast. And if you know who you are, they can't do anything. You need to know who you are, and that's what he's trying, that's what he's going
What
to
I'm saying, don't get involved in this nonsense. Why are you getting involved in Brexit? What's got to do with you?
Political.
I don't ever vote, never.
So why are you getting involved in that nonsense?
But I'm just asking.
I'm saying don't get involved in it. I have no answers for you when it comes to Brexit. I'm saying, the thing is this, the reason why you even know about this.
I mean, it might sound daft to some of you, but I'm
No, I know. It's not daft. It's not
you don't
daft.
ask, you don't get, so I'm asking.
No, it's not daft. I know what you're saying, but I'm trying to pull you away from that. That's what I'm saying to you. They have got you engaging in discussions that will lead nowhere.
Yeah.
You see, all this stuff about Brexit, those decisions were made a long time ago. There's nothing that we can do that is going to influence these people.
They're separate from us anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't have to be a part of them.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You don't have to pay attention to anything that they're doing because they are a separate estate from your estate. What you need to do is you need to cultivate your estate. You see, state is just that. It's an estate, right? What they claim is your trust is one of the funds in their trust. You need to take your trust out of their trust, so you have your own state, your own estate. That's it. So if they decide to go into Brexit or whatever they do, you see,
I've seen a lot, I understand that, but I've seen a lot, even online when I'm looking and researching, I've seen a lot of people quoting this stuff, so this is why I'm asking. So I'm thinking, if that's the case, then why quote it in the first place?
What's the quote?
Anything, I've heard a lot of people quote these European human rights, or I've heard a lot of it. So if it don't matter in the first place, why quote it? Why use it?
I'd say personally, since I found out about acts, I tend to stay away from them because I know that's an illusion. You see, so whatever those guys are doing, that's their business. I don't get involved in it.
They live in the world of the dead.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's corporations.
And we're alive.
You're living people. When a corporation makes whatever rules and regulations they make, remember one thing: it's critical that for your participation, your consent is required. So they can make whatever laws they want, rules of law, but it's still a contract. You still have to consent. So it doesn't matter what they do. They can make, like we said the other day, they can ban onions tomorrow and say a government scientist has discovered that onion is causing cancer. So from tomorrow, anyone finding some onions is going to jail. I'm not going to pay attention to that.
It's nonsense.
When he comes over with my onions, I'm going to say, I need to see your proof of authority, first of all, before you take my onions. So we need to learn how to ignore these fools, because that's what they do to us. In their world, we don't exist. In our world, they don't exist.
Yes.
In the real world, they don't exist. And in the fake world, we don't exist. So that's the comparison, you see. But don't get drawn into it. That's the light, okay? It's all about attention. Because every time they're doing something for you to pay attention to, every time something's always happening, what you need to do is to revert away from this and find a place of quietness where you can be with yourself and your own mind and center yourself. And forget about all this nonsense that's going on. As soon as you step away from it, then it stops being part of your life. For me, I think a very long time ago. Once in a while I see a television and see, oh, there's still a war going on. Which one is this one? It's a different one, but it still looks the same, because I can't tell from last time I saw TV 3 years ago. There's a new war now, but the pictures are the same. I can't tell the difference. You see, and they have to report how many people died today. I don't care. You see, but that's what they do. They put fear in you, all these stories about doom and gloom all the time. So you remain where? Lower showers. So that's the fear part. That the world is going to end, we're going to be attacked, something's going to happen all the time. I don't care, man. For me, I want to make peace, and peace is internal. So that's all you're working on, is your inner peace. I couldn't give a rat's ass about Brexit or whatever they're doing. Let them carry on. You see, that's my approach anyway. Personal, you don't have to do what I do, but I just ignore them, same way they ignore me. Because I know I'm living, they're dead. If they're not doing business with me, I need to put my autograph on their documents, you see. Yeah, so that's why. Okay, so, all human interaction, which is the transfer of goods, services, and information, is commercial, you see. That's what it is. So everything is commerce, okay? Right, I was saying earlier on, the fundamental difference between paying and discharging, you see, is that debt, you can only pay with value or substance, you see. Now because we have no value or substance, all we use is promissory notes, we can't pay anything, we have to discharge things. So it's a matter of discharge. I'm going to say again, everyone who's got an insurance number has an exemption. In America they call it social security number, you have an exemption. When you receive your statement, electric statement or gas statement or water statement, you should endorse it back and forth, which means you give the creditor, call him creditor, the authority to collect money from the Citrus Trust to the Treasury. That's all. That's acceptance for value. All right? So when you get the document, accept it for value, endorse it back and forth, make a copy for the Treasury, one copy for the creditor, and that's it. You've accepted it. You're in honor. If there's an error in the document, you conditionally accept it. So you don't do the promissory note, you don't discharge it. What you do is you tell them, excuse me, I conditionally accept to pay the charges if you can give me your legal definition of what a charge is. We start from there.
You're also not expanding the debt.
Yeah. Yeah. Even debt. You claim, oh, your debt, could you please give me what your legal definition of what debt is, and I'll pay you. You see, so we don't get into too much complicated stuff. Keep it simple like that, and things, just decide, am I going to accept it and endorse it, or am I going to conditionally accept it? That's all. You don't need to do anything else. Don't ignore it and don't argue with them. Just do those two things. Conditional acceptance or acceptance for value, and you settle all your public utilities. Okay, so a debt cannot be serviced by a currency that has no backing in value or substance. Right? That is why it's not a debt. They never give you a debt because they don't give you any value or substance. In most loans, you create it yourself using your promissory note. So how do you have a debt? So that's how we can break these things down and just match them easily, because it's not a debt. Because we're using the word, the letter of the word. A dog is a dog. If it's not a dog, it's not a dog. A debt is a debt. If it's not a debt, it's not a debt. Okay? So, no contract is valid unless it involves an exchange of goods and services, consideration, and valuable consideration, that is it. Right? So, friends, if you see alphabet characters, you'll see, because it's commas, you're going to see what they provide you. Right? You see the goods and services. What do they provide you? Services. Because the name is in the name. We can start with policy services. That's one. Sometimes they choose to call themselves force, which tells you what they do. So they call themselves policy force. They're going to force you to enter contracts with them. You have the prosecution services. Okay, that's a service. So you accept the service to be prosecuted. There's another called prison services, right? You accept the service of to be accommodated in a warehouse for a temporary period of time so they can get money. All these are services, right? Services require offering acceptance. So when a public servant comes to you offering a service, you can either accept it or refuse it. Simple as that. All right? So it's services. Okay? So anyone whose title has a service on it, that is commercial. All right? And that's most of them anyway. So, Crown agencies, a sweet one. I'm going to give you something that I've used for a while, and it's just matched up everything to do with, say, collection of indirect taxes. That's what it is, right? So we're going to go into what Crown is. Now, my reference for this is a guy called A.V. Dicey. That's a good book for anyone who can get that. A.V. Dicey, 1885. And it's the law of the Constitution. So if you read that, it's going to give you the Crown. Now the sweet thing is this. The Crown includes departments of government that are, I'm going to read because that's his writings. I just read it from the book. So the Crown Agents, the departments of government that are headed by a minister, right? It is the control of the minister that provides the link to the Crown. All right, that's first point. Second point is this: municipal bodies, school boards, universities, hospitals, regulatory agencies, administrative tribunals, thus Magician's Court, and public corporations, that would be probably BBC, even if they are performing governmental functions, are not agents of the Crown, all right? Unless they are controlled by a minister or expressly defined by statute to be an agent of the Crown. That is it. So all these municipal, whoever claiming to be part of the government, they're not part of the government. That's what I'm saying to you. You need to establish status from the beginning. You need to find out who these people are, right? Now, if they're not part of the Crown, who are they? You see. So when we write to this friends of ours, there's some work I did in Huddersfield. We were dealing with the council there, but it's not one council. They had 3 that we discovered so far. The other councils were 6 councils in one. So all they do is change the name and just move it around. So you could start off with the borough of the council of, and then you have the metropolitan. Oh, in Cutley's, we discovered 3. There's one called Metropolitan Borough of Cutley's, there's Cutley's Council, and the Borough of the Council of Cutley's. Those 3, they're 3 separate corporations, you see. And it's only one of them who's got insurance. So we call AIG to find out what kind of business these people are doing, and the Cutley's Council insurance went up in 2003 or something like that. They haven't had insurance for a few years. And they have the nerve to write to people to ask them for council tax. So what we did was ask them, number 1, are you making this representation on behalf of the Crown? Number 2, who's the insurer? They're not Crown agents. The only people that can tax you are Crown agents, period. Done. According to their own constitution. So what's up? You see, who are you? Are you making this representation on behalf of the Crown? They can't lie. They're going to ignore you. But once they ignore you, then you know it's not real. You see. So from there, we started trying to get tax back for people. Because we wrote letters saying, listen, you've been collecting taxes for so many years by misrepresentation or false representation, and need so much money back. But the point is, if you're not a Crown agent, we cannot sit here ourselves and decide, okay, let's create a company and we can go out there and collect some taxes. How about that? It's not going to work. We need to be Crown agents, but they're doing it. So that's the whole point. Put people up on this stuff. Are you making this representation on behalf of the Crown? And I'll give you 7 days to think about it and get back to me within 7 days. And if you are a Crown agent, then you need to be defined by statute as an agent of the Crown, or you need to be under a minister. We've asked them that as well. Could you identify, okay, which minister your department is allowed to do business under? They don't know, because they're not part of the Crown. All right. So make sure the people you're paying money to are the Crown, and they're part of the Crown. All right. That's what it is. The Crown agency. Okay. So that's a good liability as well, because if they're Crown agent and if they violate your rights, then the Crown is liable. You see, they can claim compensation from the Crown. If they're not Crown agents and they violate your rights, you can't sue them. Not through the Crown, because they're not Crown agents. That's the difference. Who's going to accept liability? Yep. Okay. Right, this is good. I'm going to read straight from the book. So it says, it is accepted that the Crown, which by its legislature makes statutes, may itself be bound by those statutes, and it is accepted that the Crown, which by its courts settles disputes, may itself be bound by judicial decrees. And it is accepted that the Crown may be the subject of proprietary, contractual, and tortious rights and duties. So the Crown is a corporation just like any other. It can be sued under property, it can be sued under contract, and it can be sued under tort as well. All right? So they're not immune. Okay? So, moreover, the application of the law to government is placed in the hands of the ordinary courts, who are independent of government, not today, right? So the courts need to be independent of government. The courts we have now are part of the government. They're administrative, right? That's administration. We need to go back to judicial stuff. Okay? So, who are independent of government and who can be relied upon to award an appropriate remedy to the citizen who has been injured by illegal government action, right? So citizen, this is a legal fiction world. Everything to do with government is legal fiction. That's why you call it citizen. right? And when you bring these claims in the legal fiction world, you have to identify yourself, I am a citizen, so that these rules can apply to you, all right? So if you're going to use the civil stuff to sue them under tort law and all this stuff, then that's the process. Okay. So yeah, if you're going to sue them under civil, then you're going to have to identify yourself as a citizen. If you're going to use their laws, because acts apply on citizens only, that makes sense? Okay? So if you're going to use an act, then you have to accept that you're a citizen. Then you can use the act.
If the acts apply to persons.
Legal persons. Not natural persons. Yeah. Acts apply on corporations only. Yeah. Yeah. Legal persons. Okay. Right. This is good as well. So same book, A.B. Dicey. Every official, from the Prime Minister down to a constable or collector of taxes, is under the same responsibility for every act done without legal justification as any other citizen. All right? So it's about personal liability. So every single con man is personally liable for what they do. There is no immunity anymore. All right? Right. Our final one says the Crown is analogous to a corporation. The book says that. It is a corporation. Analogous is the same as. So the Crown is a corporation, or rather a series of corporations, right? One for each of the Commonwealth jurisdictions that recognize the Queen as the head of state. So in England is only one. So you have the Queen in Right of England, which is the Crown Corporation. In Australia, I think they have provinces, or what do they have in Australia? In Canada they have provinces, I know that for sure. So you can have the Queen in right of the province of Manitoba, for instance. You see, those are the different, I'd say, funds of their estate. You see. So it is a corporation you're dealing with. You as a natural man, you need to know how to deal with a corporation. Either you stand your ground as a natural man, or you say, fine, I'm going to deal with you, but through your strongman. So you act in speeches on behalf of your strongman. You see, let them know this is not me. I am the representative for, or the presenter for this legal fiction. But I don't stand as surety, security, or accommodation party for this legal fiction. That is it. Okay? So that's A.B. Dicey, and that's a good book to read. It's about that much, but you can go through it and see what you need and pick it out. Take a whole 6 months to read it. You just take what you need. You see, it's a fat one, but it's very good. That's the law of the Constitution. Constitution is common law. Ideally. Okay? Because that's where you can talk about the Magna Carta and all the old stuff before they began with the Acts of Parliament and the deception. Right. Right. Now, there are rules of law, right? Rules of law. Remember, the legal industry is rules of law. The real word is law. So every time you hear a rule of law, that's a rule of the law society. That's what it is. It's not law. So there are rules of law in the legal fiction world which confer authority upon certain individuals, usually officials of one kind or another, to perform acts which the law will attribute to the Crown. So these people pretending to be public servants, their actions are meant to be covered by the Crown. That's where the immunity comes from. But now because they're not public, they're private, that immunity is not there anymore. That is why you have to deal with them on a man-to-man level. So when you write to them, you say, the man who was acting as a judge, you see, that one. But you don't recognize the office at all. It's fake office, they're not judges. Right. So all their proceedings, by the way, all their proceedings, because they're a corporation, they're a thing. All their proceedings are in rem. Okay, so they can only proceed against another thing. So always remember that. A corporation can only proceed against another corporation. All proceedings are in rem. All right. So a proceedings in rem is an action. Remember, it's not a move. It's an action. An action is a military term. It's an action that is brought against property or a thing, rather than against a natural person, which would be in personam, you see. So that's what it is. So all the proceedings are in rem. They're not brought against the natural person. They're brought against the thing. Okay? If you accept to be the thing, they're going to carry on. If you allow the presumption to stand, they're going to carry on. Okay? Now, proceedings in rem establish title to or enforce a right in property. That is it. So we've killed this one as well, to do with traffic. Our friend, who's at traffic? McFarlane. I've told McFarlane this one as well. You see, are your proceedings in rem or in personam? And they left this guy alone. He never wrote one. He never came back. He left it. All right. So these are the things you're getting into. You're not getting into. I wasn't driving too fast. I was driving slow and all this other nonsense. I need to know, number one, are your proceedings criminal or civil? Number two, are these proceedings in rem or in personam? And I'll give you 14 days, think about it. If I don't hear from you after 14 days, it means you've abandoned the claim. That is it. Now, one letter. You see, you don't need to write it 10 times and go back and forth. That's controversy and that's argument. We don't want to argue with them. We're going to cause controversy. I'm going to ask you these questions and create the agreement after that. So that's how simple it is. So proceedings in rem. A corporation can only proceed in rem. Okay? Okay. Right, a court's ruling. Once they proceed in rem, a court's ruling, if you participate in these fake proceedings, right?
I think that's trying to ask you what rem.
Oh, sorry. Property. Property.
Property.
Yeah. Sorry, it's property. So there's a proceeding against property. Always.
That's rem.
Rem. Yeah. So the proceedings are always against property. Because why? Because they're a corporation.
What was the other one you mentioned, Charles?
A personam. In personam. In personam. That's personal jurisdiction. Yeah. So you have subject matter jurisdiction and personal jurisdiction. Subject matter is simply, does the venue have the right authority to discuss the issues there? For instance, a traffic court is got subject matter over traffic matters, you see. That's subject matter jurisdiction, they have that. So they're going to put you in and compel you to believe that you're a thing and get involved in discussing these matters instead of establishing your status as a living man at the beginning. So they're going to skip the first act. You just go into adjudication.
That's just like my present circumstances. They're trying, because I'm trying to do me on like criminal jurisdiction now, so non-identity of the driver.
What's that?
For a light speeding offence, they're trying to do me under criminal jurisdiction for non-identity of the driver.
Which crime is that? Is that an act or a real crime? What act? Under what act are you going to bring the claim?
I was speeding.
Red traffic act.
Right, that's an act. Okay? Right. Traffic acts apply to drivers. All right?
Not travellers.
Okay? So that's that. So if you're a driver, then the act.
Gypsies don't have licenses.
Yeah, gypsies are travelers. They get on the road. Yeah.
They're on a common road.
They're not an agent, they're not driving.
And they're the happiest people in the world. They don't care. I'm in trouble anyhow. Let's go somewhere today. We jump on our vans and we drive. We'll find an spot, make a campfire. We might roast some hedgehogs, but we might roast something and eat it, but that's what it is.
Vegetables.
Yeah, that's what it is. They are a lot happier than we are getting stopped and messed around all the time. So you need to know when you're driving and when you're traveling. Because you could drive from 9 to 5 and do the business and finish it, and then from 6 to 9 you travel. You see, but it's up to you to decide when you get stopped. Are you traveling or are you driving? Well, but they'll get to be. You haven't been shot though, because the trick is this: they'll come up and say, "Excuse me, sir, could you wind down your window?
No.
Are you the driver of the car?"
No.
Well, if you don't know, yeah. If you don't know, quick, because if you don't know, it's a conversation. Are you the driver? Yeah, done.
Join them.
Join them. Whatever else you say after that, it's irrelevant. You accepted that you're driving, you're conducting business. Yes.
I had an accident in a truck years ago. I was thrown out the truck, the length of the bus. So there was an accident. And where was the driver? The whole thing got... I didn't do anything. The whole thing, there was no investigation, there was nothing.
Oh.
There was over £20,000 worth of damage.
Oh.
Right? And I was lucky to be alive. And nothing ever became of it. Because there was no driver in the vehicle. They couldn't prove it because the driver should be dead.
Yeah.
And nothing happened with it.
Well, that's the difference between law and rules of law. Okay? Law, you're going to change it. Rules of law, Well, we can do anything we want. We can change orders, we can change reverse convection, we can do anything in the under rules of law. You understand? It's an illusion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the ambulance arrived before the police. I got in the ambulance, get the hell out of here, and left them with a mess.
Wow.
And I never heard nothing. Nothing. Never heard
Well, they didn't find the driver.
There's no contract. There's no
Nobody was
contract. There's no contract.
Well, nobody was killed. Nobody was there.
Yeah.
No law
Yeah.
was broken.
Yeah. So that's the point. You need to decide. You need to know when you're driving in trouble. Instead, you don't need a license, by the way, for anything. All right? Okay? Because the license, how do you put it? The so-called government or council, they can only issue licenses for lawful activity. You know that? If you want to try and get a license to do something unlawful, that's how you do piss off. That's the point. That they can only issue license for lawful activity. That's it. Now, if your activity is lawful already, why do you need a license for it?
What about insurance, Troy?
You don't need insurance unless you're conducting business. You see.
Licenses are only needed for commercial.
That's correct. Yes, agent.
If you're conducting business, you need a license and insurance, right? If you're going to use your car as a cab to ship people around and you cause somebody injury, you need to be insured so you can pay them. Your cab driver wages is not going to be able to fix his leg, for instance, he broke his leg. That's why you need insurance, you see. So when you're conducting business, you need insurance and a license. Because you wouldn't get into a bus or plane without a pilot who's got a license. That's as simple as that. Because you have people's lives in your hands. That's it. If you're not conducting business, you're just driving around getting for pleasure, you don't need a license. What for?
What happens if you have a crash and you injure somebody?
Don't pay for it. Well, next time drive carefully.
So I can't come down.
Well, the point, this is the point. If I said to you that I'm going to cancel insurance today, but tomorrow, if you run into anyone, you're responsible for it. You'll be a very careful driver if you have to pay for it yourself. The reason people drive crazy is because they're insured. I don't care. I'm going to get the money anyway. So, yeah.
What about registering your car?
You don't need to register a car.
You can deregister it. Because if you do, they'll come and push you.
Yeah, the registration gives authority.
That's where the contract is.
That's how you waive your rights, right? How do you waive your rights? You take a piece of paper, you create a unilateral contract, which you say to the dealer, I'm going to waive all these rights here, and then you give it to them. So why are you moaning when you get stopped and you're expected to adhere to the contract that you created? That's the whole point. That's why they beat you up when you're having them on the street.
Not only that as well, you actually go to them, they don't come to you.
Exactly. You go to them and beg them, apply, submit, and please, come take my car away, please. And give it to them.
Be registered key.
Can you drive a car though with no registration plate? You'll not get pulled over by the police.
You need some sort of registration. It doesn't have to be their registration. You can create one for yourself. That's the whole point. It's their registration that you don't want.
Also, it says on the vehicle, register keeper, not owner.
Owner.
So you're not actually owning the car.
No. You bought the car, you gave it to them. Now they own the car and you're the registered keeper. They allow you to use it, so they have controlling interest
They
over
can
the trust.
Yes, because you're contracted.
I'm saying to you, it's a trust you create, right? There's three individuals to it. They're the trustee. You have given them authority, right? You've created a trust.
Yeah,
They've taken the legal title of your car.
that's right.
You have equitable title of the car. You can use it. But if you misuse it, they're going to take it away from you. That's the trust that you've created yourself.
No, I've tried to
So you- I'm sorry?
I've tried always to get a vehicle deregistered.
Yeah,
And I failed miserably.
easily done. It's not hard, it's very easy. So anyway, we're not doing the registration today. We're doing the three, so let's carry on. I'm going to carry on quickly. It's almost done, and we do a Q&A, and then we'll carry on. So, proceedings in RAM. So a corporation can only proceed against another corporation, right? So when a corporation proceeds against you, can ask them this simple question: are your proceedings in RAM or in personam? Are you proceeding against property of the natural man? If they're going to tell you, then you don't respond. That's your stop. That's where you stand. Until you receive your answers, you don't move. Okay? So, right. A genuine offer. Right. A genuine offer by one party. A genuine offer, remember? A genuine one, not a fake one. By one party is one that contains terms sufficiently definite to create an enforceable consensus upon acceptance. That is it. That make sense? You say it again. A genuine offer by one party is one that creates terms sufficiently definite to create an enforceable consensus upon acceptance by the other party. So when I come to you, okay, I need to bring in my terms and conditions of how I want to do business with you, and they have to be sufficiently definite, okay, for you to understand them, and if you accept it, then we have a contract. That's the only way you create a contract.
So the one before that, if you don't hear from them, then you should really send them a notice before the trial.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, always follow up your stuff. Okay? Always follow up your stuff. So if you ask them for information, say within 7 days, they don't give you the information, you need to follow up the letter and say, you haven't given me this information, so you create a new agreement. So it means he abandoned your claim, or that the claim was fraudulent or false, or whatever it is that you need to do, but you need to follow up and close the case yourself. They're never going to close the account, you have to do it, you see. For a reason that you have not given me the information I require, to give you remedy, right? Now you cannot remedy their claim. And I have no time anymore, so I only had 14 days, now it's going to pass, I can't deal with you anymore. That's how you close it, okay? So give them the notice of fault, and that this part is closed now. If you write to me again, you will receive no response. That is it. That's how you deal with fictitious corporations. Remember the fictitious, guys, they're not real. If there's a man or a woman in that corporation who's got enough guts to step up and come and deal with you as a man or a woman, let's see it. But in the meantime, they can keep writing the letters, and you can keep writing your letters, you see. Okay, an offer must be first made. Okay, so the offer has to be made before our concessions can lawfully be accepted. Simple. That is why you get the offers, all these letters and all these things. All those things are offers. We're making the offer and waiting for your reaction. Right, court orders as well. Those are offers also, right? So when you go to these fake venues and then you get the beige paper that says it's an order, that order is an offer as well, right? You can accept it or conditionally accept it, right? So an offer, where is the court? All judgments of the court are an offer requiring your consent, all right? Usually through the interpretation of absence of objection. That is it. So when you get your orders, with orders, because you can do it the commercial way, which is when you go home tonight, you prepare a fee schedule, okay, for all public servants, and you send it to them. And say, if you place any orders with me, it's going to cost you so much. Because an order is an order, right? When you place your orders anywhere, you have to pay for it. When you place an order on the phone, you pay for it. Or online, or to a shop, and place an order at Argos, you pay for it. Okay? So when they place orders with you as well, remember, a pigeon is a pigeon and a dog is a dog, you charge them for it, for your services, and wasting your time to do stupid little childish hearings, you see. Then you have things to do. So if you want me to come to a venue, it's going to cost you so much money for your orders. All right? Orders are commercial, same as services and goods. Right, you're going to do person, because this is critical. So a person is a fictional form, right, that assume characteristics of the identity of a living man or woman. That's what it is. All right? So a person is a fictional form that assumes identity. How is it written? It assumes a characteristic of the identity of a man or a woman. So it's going to be either your name or your address or your date of birth. One of those characteristics, and then it becomes legal fiction. It's going to assume the characteristic of a man or a woman. So, first person, also known as a natural person, right? I tend not to use person anymore, I just say man or woman, living man or living woman, okay? So that's natural person, and this is what they call propria persona, proper person, natural person, okay? And you can identify that as I, thou, me, mine, myself, we, us, our, and ourselves. That's the first person. And then you're going to go to the second one, the artificial one. When you sign it on behalf of your artificial person, you sign in sui juris. So underneath it, it's going to be signed sui juris under your name at the end of the letter, sui juris. And this is the you, yours, yourself, and yourselves on one's own right. That's what sui juris means, one's own right. So you're going to sign as an agent of the principal, right? So the sui juris, when you sign documents that way, you sign as an agent. You don't sign as you. And the last one, what you don't want to be is the person, the legal person, or the surrogate person. That is the alienis juris. You don't do that because this is under the control of another. So this is when they accept it as a word of the court or a word of the state. That's it. Okay? So those three persons. And then, part 3, the solutions. How do you solve all this stuff? For me, I found it very, very easy if I keep to the 3 things that I do all the time, and I've used the same process. And it's become easy now. So, number 1, valid cause. Okay, so that's point number 1. Number 2 is charge. Number 3 is crime. So if you know these 3 concepts, that's all this you're going to have to deal with. Only. You don't need to learn anything else. Right? So what is a charge? So when the charge is brought to you, you know where it is. And they're always going to bring charges only. Number 2, you need to know what crime is. So if somebody alleges that you've committed a crime, you see, you can say, hang on a second, that is not a crime, that's something else. And number 3, that's it, 3. Valid cause, crime, and charge. Right? So valid cause has got 3 elements as well. Crime has got 3 elements as well. And charge has got 4. So that is it, that's the entire game. So valid cause, whoever bringing the claim has to allege violation of a right. Because everything is legal, they can call it a legal right. So they have to allege violation of a legal right. Number 2, there has to be an injured party, corpus delicti. Number 3, the venue which you choose to bring your claim has to have the jurisdiction to deal with the subject matter. That's valid cause. If one of those elements is missing, the cause is not valid, it's an invalid cause, which means the claim is invalid, done. So instead of getting into, oh, I wasn't driving too fast, this, that, and the other, I didn't punch the guy, those are truth and facts. And no truth and facts shall be heard in the court of law. So what you're dealing with is this up here. Did the claimant file valid cause? That's it. If you get to court, I'm not talking about when the guy writes you a letter to start with. You see, when they call you and say, oh, you're supposed to come to this venue, there's a hearing, we're going to try you. That's when you write, excuse me, Mr. Courtman, did the claimant file valid cause? Or I require proof that the claimant filed valid cause. That's it. If they haven't filed valid cause, the claim is false from the beginning. You don't take part in it. Done. And that's the process. And the valid cause is for him to write a statement that he has first-hand knowledge of the information that he's bringing forward, you see, and he's competent to state these facts. That's it. So no valid cause, no claim. That's number 1, valid cause. Number 2 is favorite crime. So crime has got 3 elements, I call it 3.5. So element number 1, mens rea, right? So it's guilty mind. You have to think of the crime. So you have to sit your ass down, plan it, get your tools together, go and do your thing. All right? The second, actus reus, which means you have to think on the, you have to act on what you're thinking about. So you have to plan it and then act on your plans, right? 2. Number 3 is corpus delicti. So once you've thought about it and you've acted on it, there has to be an injured party. That's crime. Anything short of that is not a crime. I call it 3.5 because the 5 for me is that anyone who claims to be a victim, they have to demonstrate the nature of the injury in court. That's it. So don't just say I'm an injured party. Be able to come to court and say I incurred injury in this manner. That's it. So without those 3, it's not a crime, right? So that's it. The last one is charge, a good one as well. So either you're always going to get charged. So for there to be a true charge, there's 2. There's a false charge and a true charge. For there to be a true charge, there's 4 elements. 1 account, right? So either account is created there, or there is a pre-existing account. The pre-existing account in most cases is your bonds, the ones you created. Your birth certificate, that's an account. Your driver's licenses, those are accounts that have been created and they've been tallying stuff on it, right? So, number 1 is account. Number 2 is obligation. So you have to create obligation for there to be a true charge. Number 3 is right of claim. So whoever is bringing the claim has to have the right to bring the claim. If he causes me injury, he cannot bring the claim on my behalf. I have to give him power of attorney to do that. If I haven't done that, then I have to bring the claim myself. So either I have the right of claim to bring the claim, or I confer him the right to do it on my behalf. That's it. And the last one, it has to be done in the right jurisdiction. That's charge. So charge is account, obligation, right of claim, jurisdiction. Boom, true charge. If one element is missing, false charge, and let them know. Okay? Crime, 3. Mens rea, actus reus, injured party. There's no mens rea is not a crime. If you injure somebody, you didn't plan it, you didn't think it, it's not a crime. It could be anything else, but it's not a crime. And then valid cause is violation of legal right, injured party, and the right venue. So those 3 points is what I deal with myself. I don't get involved in a lot of stuff nowadays. I've done this statutory thing, and I found it is fake. I've done the common law thing, I found it is fake. I've realized everything is commerce, and the commerce thing is working 100% so far. So that's what we're sticking with. Yeah. So that's me for today. If you have any questions, I'll try my best to answer them. And yeah. Anyone?
How can you sign under duress so nobody knows?
How do you sign under duress?
Yeah.
By writing under duress on it.
Yeah, but like let's say a situation that if you're signing it on the paperwork, you rip it off and like if you are maybe let's say in police station or another situation where you can get out without signing it.
Right. The point is to hold your ground. Oops, sorry. To hold the ground, because the point is to try and get your signature.
Yeah.
You see. So as soon as they get the signature, they're happy. You see. So they're going to stress you out because they do shit as well. They'll put you there for 8 hours. The one who's been messing with you is going to go home and they put another one there. So he's got another 8 hours on you. You're tired, but he's got another 8 hours. If they put 3 people on you, you're going to be there for a long time.
Right,
so be prepared to take your time, not to be moved by these people. Don't be convinced to do anything. And if they ask you to sign something, remember, if somebody asks you to sign a document, that document is negotiable. So go through the document, pick the ones that you agree with, the ones you don't cancel out before you sign it, if you're going to sign it. That's what I would do. Okay? It's negotiable.
They had me on a drunken disorderly charge, but I am actually drinking any beer, I just refused to go home. And then when they were in the cells in the police station, they offered me legal support on his solicitor. So basically what they did, they got someone over the phone, they said because it's drunken disorderly, they don't actually get solicitors out to you, but they can have someone over the phone speak to you. So I was speaking to this guy and he's like, oh, just sign it, or they'll keep
Right,
it in there.
right.
That's why they asked
Right.
you if you wanted legal representation.
The legal representation, right, the way you get screwed is this. Right, there has to be the 3 branches of government in a courtroom present for you to get screwed. So the executive has to be there, judiciary and legislature. On top of that, you have to come with one of their people, which is your solicitor, who's going to hold your hand because you're a little child who's incompetent, he doesn't know what the law is. We're going to take you in there and he's going to sell you off. Remember, it's to do with selling bonds, you see. So that's all that's happening. Let's just go back to his question. About your distress thing, I suggest this. If you're at the police station and they ask you to sign, but nowadays it's not paper anymore, it's a computer thing, right? When they ask you to sign that, you know what you do? You put a big void across it, okay? Or cancelled across it. That's it. All right? Tell me, you want me to sign? Give me the thing. Yeah. Put the void across. Boom. Or cancelled. That's it. All right? That way, you're the man, right? Your signature is the energy. So you sign whatever you want. But if you don't want part of that agreement, that contract, you cancel it. Okay? You have the right and power to do that just by putting void or cancel on it. You see?
You can also put NA at the end of your signature before
NA. You can do a lot of stuff. You can do VC, you can do...
sometimes you can bring tip like police, just for not signing, because some police are like that. So to get out of like actually not giving them this.
No, they're threats. I've been to police station many times. They've asked me to sign stuff and
Yeah, but some police actually...
you're going to sign anything.
some police force, they actually,
How? How they gonna grab your hand and
but I mean, like, they'll threaten you and, like, beat you up.
that's what it is, that's what it is. You know what I'm saying to you, that's the whole game.
Making you feel threatened.
That's the whole game to cause you to fear, you see. I'm not saying you do what you're gonna do, but you have to show them, I'm not afraid of you, public servant. You do what you're gonna do, I'm not gonna sign that document, you see. I'm not gonna sign it, you do what you're gonna do. I don't agree with it, to start with. You cannot force me.
I wouldn't, just to stop myself from getting assaulted by an officer.
I'm saying you cannot be compelled to sign a document, you see. Right, void across it. That's it. Because what they want to do, they want to contract with them. You see, the point is put the void across it. Don't worry about this other not a big fat void. This is the piece of the side of it. You write void across all that, cancelled, across it. Now they have to get a new document and try and get you to sign it. But once you void it, that particular bond cannot be cashed. But those are bonds, you see. But you're the one who's creating the value. Your signature creates the value. That's why you sign on. When you go to sign, your signature is the one that's going to create the value for them to give you in a few days' time. So you don't sign things until you want. We don't sign anything anyway. We autograph documents. A signature is for the dead. Signatures are for legal fictions. You need to know that as well. You don't sign anything. We endorse documents. Just give me a minute. Let me show you. I might have one in the back. It's an example. Right. I wonder if you can see this where you are. Can you see that? So that's how we endorse our documents. It's going to improve, but this is about 2 years old. But now we've discovered the glossa in the language. So it's going to look differently. But 3 years ago, this is how we're sending our documents, which is stamp on the top bit, puts the contract under postal jurisdiction, you seal it with a thumbprint or a fingerprint, and then you autograph across it. It's not cursive, so the letters don't touch.
So that's the correct way.
Yes, you autograph.
But the thumbprint has to be on the right-hand side as well, because even the stamp has two sides, a creditor and a debtor side.
So this is wrong. This is the creditor, the left, and the right is. The left is the debtor, the right is the creditor. So you're going to seal this side, and you're going to endorse it across. You're going to do that the same on the back as well. So you're going to do it
3 times.
That way. I didn't have a stamp for that, but you can do it that way as well. And then you get your postal thing, and you attach it to it. When you go to court, you go online, and there's a number on this postal thing here. You go to the post office website, and it's going to say whether it's been served and what day. It's going to have a signature squiggle. You print that out, and you attach it to this. So that's your evidence. When you go to court, that's proof of effective service of process. They received the document on this day at this time. How come they didn't deal with any of the issues, you see? Yeah. So you stop at the beginning. So your first letter that goes out is stamped properly when you're asking them who they are. Or are you making this representation on behalf of the Crown? For me here, I have only 3 questions. They wouldn't answer this. They can't answer the same question. So only one question. Are you making this representation on behalf of the Crown? Please let me know within 14 days. And if you fail, it means that you abandon this claim. That's one sentence. And then you sum it all up. So you put stamp, you autograph, you put your seals, we have to emboss it as well, we do all this bunch of stuff, we endorse it back and forth, and we send it to them. That's it.
You know the
And they don't respond.
You know the glossary you just mentioned?
Yeah.
I know that a lot of people are just sort of finding out about it themselves. But I do know to most of you guys in here that have known about it for a while, right? It's kind of, even though it's kind of new, but not to you. Even I've noticed now that they're not using some glossary anymore. So what? Now what? Because
now we're going to kill them in the English language.
They're not even doing it in the windows on the envelopes anymore. And some of them I've noticed that. So they're not even doing it in the old.
We always commit mail fraud, trust me, we see it all the time.
They don't even use capitalised, like, you know, Mr.
Yeah, they change it. They have to keep moving because they have to make money, right? What you have to understand is this. Corporations don't exist. They're dead. Right? What you do have is this. You have men and women who work on behalf of these corporations. Now, if you have somebody who's got no principles as the head of a corporation, he's going to have you with no principles underneath him because they all fit in. And that organization is just going to be corrupt from top to bottom. That's the case with these people. Now, instead of trying to resolve the issues, you're trying to hide, and deceive people and manipulate people. It's not going to work because you cannot do this anymore. We know what's going on, so stop it. That's what I'm saying.
This is the information age now.
Yeah, this is kind of apocalypse. Everything's being revealed so that we're going to get to a stage where we all know the truth. And no one can lie to, I can lie to you because you know this stuff. That's why we take it there. So when you go to these venues, you need to let them know that you know what's going on. I'm a leading man. This venue has no authority to try leading man unless you can prove it. You see. And even before you go there, you ask them for the authority to summon you there.
Exactly.
That is their oaths and all this crap. They say, look, if you're unable to show me your oath, I'm going to accept that you're not a judge, and I'm going to come to your stupid court, you fool. You see. Not that language anyway, but in English. But that's the approach. But be a man, stand your ground, and tell the public servant what to do. That's what they're there for. They're there to serve you. You're not there to serve them under any circumstance. Exactly. You're the servant. So guess what? You're going to serve me. I'm not going to serve you. Like, oh, you're going to let the old judge. They're not judges. Unless you speak oath, he's not a judge. So don't be deceived by these crooks that they have authority over you, the living man. Do that. It's called a notice of demand. Do that for quo warranto, which is
By what for a
notice of demand, which requires them to show you by what authority they do what they do. That's a one-sentence one, you see. So we have that already. So before we deal with them, if there's someone new, send them a quo warranto. Okay? Yeah. If they don't have, if they don't have the authority to be holding trials then and calling people, what the hell is calling you? So as soon as you receive or come to our court, and they give you 3 months or 2 months, you want that information within 1 month. So it gives you 1 month to mess around with them. So if you don't receive it within 1 month, you do a reminder. So you invited me to your venue on this day, I'm a living man. Please show me the authority that allows you to invite a living man to this stupid venue.
They're not going to produce it. They never do.
Yeah, and if you don't produce it, you're not going to see me there.
Unless the audio, and then you obviously...
They don't. Trust me, they don't. They never do.
They do what?
Unless they try to audio, but then
Order.
you give them a bill.
An order is a bill.
If they give you an order, you charge them.
That's
Okay?
what we know.
Thank you very much for your order. My service is at this.
So
And you're going to get your bill
has
in a
anybody
minute.
ever had a warrant after this stuff? That's what
A warrant?
I want to know if everybody is. Okay, so you say I'm not going to come to your venue, but...
Yeah, they should have fake warrant, but you can
Yeah,
change
so
that.
has anybody had a warrant for an arrest after that? So if you say to them, I'm not going to come to your venue, do you know anyone who's ever had a warrant for
They
an
always
arrest
issue with
after
fake
that?
warrants. They do it all the time.
No. They'll issue...
saying I'm not going to
They'll issue the warrant
The warrant
if
for
you...
arresting.
That's what I'm saying. They'll issue the warrant if you participate in the fucking proceeding. That's what I'm saying. If you don't participate from the beginning, they cannot issue a warrant. You see?
Because you're asking the
They
questions.
still do that, I know. They still do though, because I still,
Well, from the start.
I know people that, right, who are not as knowledgeable as you guys, right, but I do know people who kind of mess with this stuff and try to play with it.
They mess with it, they don't know what they're doing.
A warrant for arrest and being choked out. I've
Yeah,
seen them
but
being choked out.
what are they writing to these people?
By these
What are they writing to these people?
That's what I'm saying, they're not as knowledgeable as you guys. But what I'm saying is they do get warrants for their arrest, and I've seen
Does this make sense to you? What I'm saying is this, you're going to argue with this controversy.
They take us to false court, to initial court, and call it law.
Right, if you guys, right, I'm going to finish now, you guys can carry on arguing. I'm not arguing. Right, I'm finishing.
If a police officer is likely to take him to court and get stripped to his
Never get
title,
stripped for anything. I've never seen one get stripped yet.
that's court in the
Never seen it.
That's why you have to court.
I've never seen it, man. Honestly, I understand all this stuff, but what I'm saying is I've never seen one officer yet get stripped for... I've seen my friends battered and abused by...
They do it all the time.
And
I
I've
do.
never seen one yet get stripped of anything. That's what I'm saying.
Who's that?
One.
It's all about the bacon boys.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's saying like it's an assault.
right,
I've had it myself and I've seen it first and I've
right. This is the situation, right? What I'm saying to you is this. There are men and women today who are abusing their position, right?
Yeah.
Now we need to
This is
stand
what I'm
up.
talking about, the abuse of this. So how
Exactly.
do we deal
What I'm
with
saying to you,
that?
we need to stand up. How do you stand up? I'm explaining it and you're still debating with me.
Yeah, go on.
How do you stand up? By putting your fee schedules in and enforcing them. That's how you stand up. Not physical fight. You don't want to fight with this physical fight. That is what they love. They love a physical fight, you see. Because they have weapons of death and torture. And they can't wait to use those people. Kill them with paper. They cannot deal with paper, you see. But if you're going to go into a fight with them, physically, they're going to mash you up. If we had enough weapons, I'd take them on, but I have no weapons. Because I have a heart and they don't, you see. That's the only trouble. But going back to this issue about, oh, they're going to do this and they're going to do that, they're going to do the other one. They only do those things if you don't conduct yourself properly and calmness. What I'm saying to you, if you do the correct procedure that they're doing as well, they cannot touch you.
I understand that, Troy, but you must understand, coming from the streets like me, right, you must have, in the past, right, had some guy who was abusing his position who's come up to you and straight still you in a way that's not appropriate, right? This is what I'm saying to you.
What I'm saying, that has happened to me. That is why I'm in this situation now, you see. Because I realize these guys are bogus.
We've all been shot.
Okay? So what are we going to do? Are we going to allow these public servants to mess around? Or are we going to send up?
Basically, what he's saying is that if an officer assaults you, you can take that officer to the court and enter the court as a man, and he'll have to enter as a man.
But show me one that's been prosecuted though, that's what I'm saying.
You've got to take him as a man.
We're not taking him as a man.
Listen, the trouble with most people is this. They don't follow up. Okay? They get assaulted, and that is it. They're going to mourn about it and leave it. You need to follow it up. Okay? And when you sue them, you don't sue the office, you sue the man. IPCC is rubbish, it's nonsense. Guys, it's honest.
It's like it's been there.
Right, so we're going to call it a night. Thanks again for coming over. We have a script going around, so we'll see you again next time.
Right, can I just say as well, if you brought any cups or glasses up with you, or even if you didn't, take one down because it's easier for us and we do get the police for free, so try and be nice back to the